Mark was exhausted as he left the office. The workday had dragged on longer than expected, and the last conversation with his wife, Emma, echoed in his mind. Their argument over finances, which had started as a minor disagreement, had escalated into harsh words. She was frustrated with their mounting debt, and he was irritated by her apparent inability to manage the household budget. The next day, they'd both slept in separate rooms, knowing they needed to talk, but neither one wanted to start that conversation. As he drove down the empty street, he hoped for a peaceful evening. It was a night like any other, but something felt off. When he turned onto their street, he noticed something strange. The lights of the house were off. She must have forgotten to leave a light on, he thought, unaware that this would be the first sign of something deeply wrong. He walked into the house. The floor creaked quietly beneath his feet, and the scent of stale dinner lingered in the air. On the dining table, a bowl of leftover food sat untouched. It wasn't the dinner Emma had promised him. It was cold, as though someone had interrupted their evening plans at the last moment. He made his way toward their bedroom, thinking that Emma must have already gone to bed. The door was unlocked. When he opened the door, his heart skipped a beat. There was no one in the room. But on her pillow was a small note written in Emma's handwriting. It read, "I didn't leave, Mark. I've just been waiting for you to come home." Confused, Mark assumed something was wrong, but a cold chill ran down his spine. He couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. He wasn't sure why, but at that moment, he felt a breath on the back of his neck. He spun around quickly, but there was nothing. Then something on the nightstand caught his eye. It was an old family photo album, left open to a page he didn't recognize. The photo was blurry, but Mark could make out the image of him and Emma, with someone else standing between them, a person he didn't recognize, with an unsettling grin. His heart started pounding. Who is that? He wondered. Emma had always been so careful about their photos. She would never let something like this slip by. At that moment, he heard footsteps behind him. Slowly, he turned, but there was no one there. Only silence. Sweat dripped down his forehead. "Emma," he called out. No answer. His heart raced faster. He walked into the living room, where the door was slightly ajar. Everything was very quiet. Mark scanned the room, trying to catch any sign of life. Then, his gaze fell on the television screen. It wasn't showing any channels, just a black, static-filled screen. But then, slowly, as if from a distance, an image began to emerge. At first, there were only shadows, a woman with long black hair. Then, beneath her image, the words appeared, "Emma left, but only her body has left this house." Mark froze. He knew he couldn't be alone. Nothing he was seeing made sense. Panicked, he moved closer to the TV. But when he looked into the reflection of the screen, he saw Emma. Her silhouette, her cold figure, standing right behind him. His heart stopped. He quickly turned around, but there was no one there. Just silence. Then he heard a deep, gurgling sound coming from the kitchen. He didn't want to go, but he had to. Stepping forward, the air grew colder with each step, and the smell of the house became unbearable. Decay, rot. He entered the kitchen and found a photograph of Emma on the table. She was smiling, but her eyes were completely black. Then, in the dark corners of the room, he saw a message scrawled in something that looked like blood. "You're too late, Mark. You've come back too late." Suddenly, the lights in the house flickered and exploded. And then, from the darkness, Mark heard Emma's voice. "You came back, but it's not enough." As the lights flickered one last time, he saw her shadow in the hallway. There was no way out. She was now part of the house forever.